Welcome to the Southern Idaho Fishing Report. Whether you are planning just a couple of hours or a full weekend of fishing, this is your one-stop place for all the information you need to plan your trip. It's all right here, from weather forecasts and reservoir levels to the latest stocking reports and expert advice. And now, the host of the Southern Idaho Fishing Report, Jeff Cullers.
Welcome, anglers. This is the Southern Idaho Fishing Report for the weekend of August 27th, 2021. Can you believe it? We are at the end of the 8th month. Man, it just seems like the fishing season has flown by. Another great show for you this week. Jordan Rodriguez from Tightlines 208. Kyle Sandy from the Deadwood Outfitters. I've got your regional updates, your moon phases, and of course, my grade. So sit back and relax, anglers. It is the Southern Idaho Fishing Report. Let's kick it off as we do each and every week in the Magic Valley. Sunset will be around 8:21. That's 10 minutes earlier than last weekend. At sundown, is just creeping up faster and faster. Friday the 27th, 76 degrees for the high, 49 degrees for the low, sunny, 0% chance of rain, but a west-northwest 14-mile-an-hour wind. Saturday the 28th, 77 degrees for your high, 50 degrees for the low, sunny, 0% chance of rain again, north-northwest 10-mile-an-hour wind. Sunday the 29th, 86 degrees for the high, 60 degrees for the low, sunny all day, no chance of rain with a north-northeast 9-mile-an-hour wind. Your reservoir and boat ramp information for the Magic Valley is as follows. American Falls up just a little bit at 15% full with an elevation of 4318. Only the west side boat ramp is open. Lake Walcott 97% full with an elevation of 4245. The boat ramp is open. Littlewood down, if you can believe it, 1% full with an elevation of 5137. The boat ramp is closed. Ryrie 61% full with an elevation of 5089. Blacktail and Juniper boat ramps are open. There are no major stocking to report for the Magic Valley. There is a unique fishing tournament going on this weekend. August 28th, the Idaho Walleye Unlimited will be holding a fishing tournament on both Lake Walcott and Salmon Falls Creek Reservoir. So if you're going to that, you need to make sure which one you're going to. So either Walcott Park or Lud Drexler. Joining us once again, fishing columnist, owner, and creator of Tightlines 208 with his hot tip of the week, it's Jordan Rodriguez. Jordan, how are you doing?
Doing great, Jeff. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm digging these cooler temperatures and loving it right now.
It feels pretty good to be outside.
Yes, it does. Jordan, what is that hot tip of the week you got for us?
Well, if you'll allow it, I'm going to get a little bit nerdy this week, Jeff. A little bit nerdy.
I like it.
I'm going to talk about research and homework. Those aren't fishing words, but sometimes they are. And, if you're someone who's listening to the podcast, then good on you, because that is in itself a form of research and learning. Yeah. Or if you maybe read my columns or have attended a class or two, those would all count toward this as well. But one of the things, fishing is a constant learning experience. It's one of the things that I really enjoy about it. And I find that I get messages and notes or, stories from people that I meet about kind of failed fishing trips. And as I kind of dissect what happened, a lot of times it comes down to just not knowing what it was you were getting yourself into. And, Idaho Fish and Game has some really cool tools on their website.
Yep.
That allow you to go in and see what species live in each lake, what species have been stocked and when they were stocked and how many were stocked, and also what's been observed in surveys, of course, because not all the fish present in a fishery are hatchery fish, or typically that's the case. There will be some either native or some warm water species that are in there and have been in there for decades, reproducing and having self-sustaining populations. So it's very important as you plan your trips, especially if you're going somewhere new or if you're looking to catch a certain species, to use those tools. And of course, there's information available on social media and other places also. But just knowing, and an example I'll use to illustrate this was my hunt for the tiger muskie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you're to use the search tool and type in tiger muskie, there are about 30 odd lakes that appear in Idaho, or I guess 30 odd total fisheries that appear. So you'd say, okay, there's about 30 lakes that have tiger muskie, which is a very small number when you consider the geographic size of the state of Idaho. But when you dig a little deeper, the number is actually considerably lower than that. And you can tell these types of things by looking and seeing that the last stocking at such and such lake was in 2009. Well, here we are in 2021. It's very unlikely that any of those fish that were stocked 12 years ago would still be alive.
Yeah.
And so, for all intents and purposes, you can cross that off the list. And so, using some of that information that was available, and then, talking to some people with kind of insider knowledge, you can narrow it down to there's really only maybe 12 to 15 lakes that have tiger muskie. And of those, there's maybe only half a dozen that are really worth fishing in terms of density of population, likelihood to encounter muskies, which of course are a very difficult species anyway to catch. So doing this kind of research beforehand, you can really give yourself a better shot at success, because you'd be putting yourself in a situation where you're more likely to encounter muskies. And where we wound up going, we encountered a lot of muskies. And of course, even with that being the case, the opportunities to hook one were few and far between, but we were able to pull it off. Me and a friend each had one fish landed, one fish lost, and there was some other activity that would kind of count as a strike or a near miss or something of that nature. So these tools are there, they're free, and all it really takes is a little bit of legwork, or I guess index finger work, as you click around
Yep.
on the web to find these things. And it can be really, really helpful, whether you're looking for something that's more rare, like a muskie, or maybe a bull trout or a lake trout, those types of things. It really boils down to a small handful of places that are even worth going to try and catch something like that. And maybe if you're after, just some stocked trout for the frying pan, or, for the kids, when was the last time they put them in there? If they dumped 20,000 in 2 weeks ago, chances are fishing is going to be pretty good there. But if they haven't stocked this year, if it's been a long time, you might want to change your plans and target something else.
Yeah, that is great advice. It's funny, that's how you and I met, because when I first moved here, I've talked about it before. I grew up in North Carolina. I did a lot of lake fishing, but it was mostly for bass and panfish. I didn't know a whole lot about trout and other species. And I said, I want to learn. And I happened to find your class and stop fishing, start catching. And it really did help me. I learned a lot. And I also learned about river fishing, because I'd never done a lot of river fishing. So now I sound like an expert, because I go out and I say, hey, here's some tips for catching fish on the river. But you're absolutely right. And that's the whole point of this podcast, is we're trying to give folks just a little bit of help in their research, to plan a little bit better. Where can you go, where you not go? And it's definitely worth it to take a little bit of extra time and do some research. And you're now, as the title of that class, you're increasing your chances of catching a fish rather than just spending a day out there throwing line in the water.
Yeah, 100% true. And, the more advanced you get, or the more difficult your target species is, or the more rare they might be, the more important those things become. If you're just looking to catch some rainbow trout or some largemouth bass, there's countless numbers of fisheries in our region and beyond that have those things. And if you've got some go-to strategies and some things dialed in that work for you, they're likely to work at the majority of those places, and you'll probably catch some fish. But when you start specializing into something like a walleye or a muskie or a pike, a lake trout, a flathead catfish, These are things that can't just be found at any, neighborhood pond or, local reservoir. You really have to put in some effort and some legwork, and doing some of that research ahead of time will save you time in the end. Just flogging the water at a place that may or may not be worth your effort. And so it's something, the more serious you get into it, I think the more important that homework becomes, so that you're setting yourself up, so you're maximizing your hours on the water as good opportunities to have success for whatever it is you're fishing for.
Sage advice. I like it. Well, Jordan, how can the listeners get a hold of you or find out more information about you?
Yeah, so tightlines208.com is the website. Tightlinesboise@gmail.com is my email. All my contact info is listed on the website, and we have a new class opened up for September. It's called Chasing Monsters, and so we're going to be addressing some of the things we've just talked about. Is how do we find some of these rare breeds, these giant fish that can be 3 or 4 feet long. And in addition to those rarer species, we'll also talk about some of the more common species like bass and trout. And if I want to catch a huge one, where do I go? Because again, you can go to a lot of places and catch bass, but to catch 5-pound bass, you really need to be dialed into, a very small handful of places. So we'll talk about all those things, cover all those things. That's September 21st, Chasing Monsters. It's a brand new class, never before offered, and that is now open for registrations on the website.
Outstanding. Jordan, we appreciate you joining us each week with this Tightlines Hot Tip of the Week. Fishing columnist, owner, and creator of Tightlines 208. Jordan, I hope you have a great weekend.
You too, brother. Thanks.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Let's hit the center of the southern Idaho area in the Treasure Valley. First, over in Mountain Home, sunset around 8:26 p.m. On Friday, your high will be 80, your low will be 49, sunny all day. No chance of rain, but a northwest 17-mile-an-hour wind, so be careful if you're heading out to CJ Strike or Anderson Ranch. Saturday, the 28th, 83 degrees for the high, 50 degrees for the low. Sunny all day, no chance of rain with a west-northwest 9-mile-an-hour wind. Sunday the 29th, 91 degrees for the high, 55 degrees for the low. Sunny, again, no chance of rain. Those winds die down just a little bit out of the east-southeast at 8 miles an hour. In Boise, the sunset will be at 8:29 p.m. this weekend. On Friday, the high will be 80, low will be 51. Sunny, a 1% chance of rain with a west-northwest 12-mile-an-hour wind. Saturday the 28th, 84 degrees for the high, 54 degrees for the low. Sunny, again a 1% chance of rain with a westerly 7-mile-an-hour wind. Sunday, 91 degrees for your high, 58 degrees for your low. Sunny all day, no chance of rain with a southerly 6-mile-an-hour wind. Your reservoir level and boat ramp information for the Treasure Valley area. Anderson Ranch is 42% full with an elevation of 4130. All boat ramps are open except Deer Creek, Pine, and Fall Creek. Arrow Rock is at 25%. Elevation is 3125. However, both the high and low ramp are still currently open. Lucky Peak is down to 32%, an elevation of 2974. All ramps are closed except for 2. Your only way into Lucky Peak is going to be Turner Gulch and Spring Shores main ramp. Lake Lowell is sitting at 49% full, down just a little bit, with an elevation of 2521. However, all ramps are currently open. There's a couple of stocking reports for the Treasure Valley area. Loman ponds are getting about 600 fish stocked, and the Boise River will have over 2,000 fish stocked in various locations. There's one fishing tournament in the Treasure Valley area, August 28th. The Intermountain Bass Anglers will be at CJ Strike, and they'll be using the Black Sands Resort boat ramp. And that is your report for the Treasure Valley. Make sure you visit us at southernidahofishing.com. Here you can find the links to all the information we provide you here. You can also contact us through the site. Let's head up the Double Nickel and see what's happening in the Cascade area this weekend. The sunset in the Cascade area will be around 8:30 p.m. Friday, the 27th, high will be 71, low will be 41. Sunny all day. There is a 3% chance of rain with a west-northwest 9-mile-an-hour wind. Saturday, 77 degrees for your high, 43 degrees for the low. Sunny all day. There is a 5% chance of rain with a north-northwest 6-mile-an-hour wind. Sunday, 81 degrees for your high, 46 degrees for your low, sunny all day, a 2% chance of rain with a 7-mile-an-hour wind out of the south-southwest. Your reservoir level and boat ramp information for the Cascade area. Cascade is currently sitting at 59% full with an elevation of 4817. All ramps except French Creek, Buttercup, Boulder Creek, and Sisera are open. Deadwood is currently sitting at 41% full, an elevation of 5298. The Cozy Cove boat ramp is open, but barely, my friends. Man Creek is sitting at 18% full with an elevation of 2844. The south ramp is closed, but the north ramp is still currently open. As far as stocking goes in the Cascade area, Fish and Game will be stocking in various locations along the Payette about 1,000 fish. There are no major fishing tournaments to be reported in the Cascade area. Kyle is a little under the weather this week, so we're going to replay one of his previous expert tips on lakes that you can catch kokanee in. Sit back and enjoy. All right, folks, it is that time once again. Kyle Sandy is joining us from the Deadwood Outfitters, your kokanee expert. Kyle, how are you doing in this stifling heat?
Oh, doing okay. Just living day by day. It's so hot, I can't stand it anymore.
Yeah.
Ready for the cool fall.
Yeah, I think everybody's going to be happy to see a couple of days of this air quote cold front come through to help drop the temperatures for a few days. So should be a couple of nice days out on the water. Well, listen, let's just jump right into it, sir. What's your tip for us this week?
You know, I thought I would list off some lakes that some of the people may not know that there's kokanee in, and some that may already know.
Okay.
In case if you guys are out there and now that you know there's kokanee in there, you can try it.
There you go. I like that.
So we got just our local lakes around here. We got Arrow Rock, Lucky Peak. They're just outside of Boise there. They actually produced really well this year. They're still probably producing. They actually have an early run, early kokanee run. So usually about this time, they start to turn, a little bit of a color, but they won't run till about the middle of August into September. So you still got some time there.
Okay.
And so you got Anderson. That's been a big one the last few years. The bottom has kind of fell out of the bottom of that, but they're still catching some. That's an early run kokanee as well. So they start to kind of turn colors right about now. You'll just see a hint of like pink or purple on them. And then as the year the month progresses, they get a little darker and darker and darker. Ryrie Reservoir, eastern Idaho. Same thing. It's an early run kokanee. Believe it or not, you got Cascade Lake. They do have some. Yep, they do stock actually quite a few of them. The only one issue is that is a very shallow lake and it heats up really fast, which causes the kokanee to die. But there is some in there and people catch them.
Okay.
Even Horse Thief Reservoir, or the Little Horse Thief Reservoir, they stock that with lake spawn kokanee. So those don't spawn until like the ice. I mean, the ice, it's ice over and those fish are spawning. So,
all right.
But people catch them. Of course, Deadwood Reservoir, that's an early run. This year I heard that they're running 7-8 inches. They're not very big, but they're very plentiful. You got Payette Lake in McCall there. That actually is starting to produce fish again. There for a while, we had the max in there were so thick that, they were just eating all the kokanee up. And they've kind of thinned out those max, and some of those kokanee are coming back. And then for the northern part of the state, you got Dorshack. That's kind of central Idaho there. That produces a lot of fish. Another thing, they're smaller, but hey, if you like the action, more power to you. There's just a bazillion of fish up there.
Yeah, we talked about that on the show a couple of weeks ago because my wife and I actually went to Dorshack, and the first day we were out there, we're throwing all these kokanee back because they're 8 or 9 inches, and I pull up next to the guy at a dock over there, and he goes, "Yeah, I caught 38." I'm like, 38? Can I see? And he puts up a grocery bag, and I'm like, "How do you have?" And I'm like, "Oh, so I've been catching." He goes, "Yeah, that's as big as they get up here. So 9 inches about the max you're going to get up there this year, I'm afraid."
Yeah, and you know what? People, a lot of people, they'll actually cut the heads, tail off, or de-skin them, and they can them whole because the bones are so small. The bones just dissolve when you put them in a pressure cooker. So some people like that.
They still tasted good to me. Even at 9 inches, they were still really good eating.
Oh yeah, I mean it's great table fare.
Yeah.
You actually have it's way up in the northern part of Idaho. You got Hayden Lake. I personally never fished Hayden, but I see lots of good reports coming off that. Usually it seems to be like an earlier fishery and then it kind of tapers off, but it's the same thing. It'll produce fish. I mean, you can catch these fish on all these lakes almost all year round. It's just if you're wanting to get size or not. You got Coeur d'Alene Lake. That's a late spawn run. So it's that real late fall run that they're going to do. So actually right about now till this fall, that fishery starts to pick up. And then you got Lake Pend Oreille. And Lake Pend Oreille, it's the same thing as, right now, like as in Dorshack and Deadwood. You got a lot of small fish, but they're very plentiful.
Okay. All right.
And that's just a few lakes to go try. And if you make a vacation destination, now there's kokanee in them. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, that's a good tip. And take what we've learned from you so far and go out there and put this on the water. Kyle, we appreciate you joining us each and every week. And again, how can the listeners book a trip with you if they need to?
You can give me a call at 208-936-5180.
All right, folks. Again, Kyle Sandy joining us each and every week, our kokanee expert from Deadwood Outfitters. Kyle, thank you, and I hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Hey, you want to be a part of the show? Email us with questions or your fishing report from your last trip. You can email us at southernidahofr@gmail.com or send us a picture of that catch at myfish@southernidahofishing.com. Another way to be part of the show, ask some questions. Send viewer questions to questions@southernidahofishing.com. Let's head over to the Snake River Reservoir area. Sunset will be around 8:34 p.m. Mountain Time. Friday, the 27th, 81 degrees for the high, 53 degrees for the low, mostly sunny. A 3% chance of rain with a west-northwest 8-mile-an-hour wind. Saturday, the 28th, 87 degrees for your high, 54 degrees for the low. Sunny all day. A 2% chance of rain with a north-northwest 4-mile-an-hour wind. Sunday, the 29th, 92 degrees for the high, 56 degrees for your low. Sunny all day, a 1% chance of rain with a 7-mile-an-hour wind out of the south-southwest. Your reservoir level and boat ramp information. Brownlee is 27 feet from full with an elevation of 2,077. All ramps are open except for Spring Recreation and Steck Park. There are no stocking reports for the Snake River Reservoir area. There's one fishing tournament, August 28th. The Idaho Bass Masters will be using the Brownlee Reservoir and the Woodhead Boat Ramp. And that is your report for the Snake River Reservoir area. You can find us on Facebook groups or you can follow us on Twitter at Idaho_report. Let's look at the moon phases. The last quarter will be rolling around on August 30th. The new moon will be September 6th. The next apogee will be August 29th, and the next perigee will be September the 11th. We are heading into the last quarter, and quite honestly, fishing will be mediocre at best. If you're going out, the best times are going to be between midnight and 2 a.m. overnight and noon and 2 p.m. again in the afternoon. Evening peak times will be between 6 and 8 p.m. Honestly, looking at the solunar, I think your best fishing times are going to be on Sunday and not Friday and Saturday. Well, we have come to the end of the show here where I give you my grade. But before I do that, just want to talk about what we did last week. And it actually wasn't a whole lot of fishing. We did take some rods and fish in the Payette, but actually my wife and I went up toward Cascade, Smith's Ferry to be more exactly. We stayed at the Cougar Mountain Lodge. Great place and had a great time there. It was great. We did a hike at Snow Mountain on Saturday. And then Sunday, we went with Cascade Raft and Kayak Company and did a little whitewater rafting there on the main part. Had a great time. So it was a lot of fun. This weekend, it's going to be a weird weekend. I have to tell you, I vacillate between a C and a B. And honestly, I think part of the weekend will be a C, part of the weekend will be a B. Fishing's going to be pretty weak Friday and Saturday. Saturday with the solunar patterns and wind speeds, especially Friday. If you are picking one day, I would go out on Sunday. Again, like I said, Friday and Saturday are going to get a C in my book. Sunday's going to be your best day, but even then, it's only going to be a low B. Your peak times are just not going to be great. It's not great for fishing, but it's going to be sunny and the temperature is going to be down. So it's, not going to be a horrible weekend to be out. So C or B this weekend. Love to hear how you do. Let me know. Hit us on our Facebook group page or go to the website and send us an email. Big shout out to our experts that join us each and every week. Jordan Rodriguez from Tightlines 208, Kyle Sandy from the Deadwood Outfitters. I'd like to thank you, listener. You continue to make this show possible. Hit us up on YouTube. We're exploding there. Subscribe. You get us each and every week. You don't even have to wait for the announcements to come out. As soon as it's there, you'll know. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jeff Cullers, and I'll see you on the water. We would like to thank you for listening to the Southern Idaho Fishing Report and would like to remind you to visit our website, southernidahofishing.com, or find us on Facebook or on Twitter. Thanks to our guests and experts, as well as you, our listener, for making this show possible. This has been an Old Man Studios production. Join us next week for another episode of the Southern Idaho Fishing Report.